OBSBot have just released the Tiny 2. It's their successor to last year's Tiny 4K, the first ever AI-powered pan-tilt zoom camera. And it definitely packs a ton of cool features into a tiny package. Believe me when I say that it's the perfect camera for those of us who can't sit still. This camera can track you around, making it ideal for streaming exercise, dance, presentations, or simply moving around in the office. Well, let's see if that upgrade was worth the wait and compare it to the competition. Alright, let's get started. Hey everybody, I'm David and I'm here with another webcam review for Hacking Modern Life, the place for digital life hacks and gadgets. I don't do many webcam reviews, but I do like it when there's something special and unique about a gadget. OBSBot has kindly sent me the Tiny 2 and its remote, so I can show you. However, they didn't pay me for this video and the opinions I'm going to share are exclusively my own. This one is just called the Tiny 2. I think like OBSBot dropped the 4K from the name because by now it's just obvious. Let's open the box and see what's inside. First we see the remote and the Tiny 2 itself. The OBSBot Tiny 2 comes in a nice carrying case and with a lot of documentation in all the possible languages. The remote feels nice and sturdy in the hand and is made from nice plastic. But it doesn't come with the batteries, but it does come with the USB-A dongle for the computer. The buttons feel very rubbery and nice to the touch. Inside the box, we get a USB-A adapter, the USB-C to USB-C cable, the Tiny 2 itself, and the magnetic stand, which feels very sturdy and holds the Tiny 2 really well. The weight is perfect. It's very stable and not bulky, and it comes with a very nice carrying case as well. It also comes with a USB-C cable, which could be a little on the shorter side. I wish more webcams would use something like the springy cable that the Opal C1 comes with. Keep in mind that if you want to upgrade the software on the OBSBot Tiny 2, you have to use a USB 2 cable, even though in regular usage it has to be USB 3. I found that out the hard way. When you turn it on, the Tiny 2 impresses with its excellent video quality thanks to an ultra-large 1/1.5 CMOS sensor. The image looks crisp and colorful in 4K resolution at 30 FPS or at 1080p at 60 FPS. Autofocus is quick and accurate as well, but I'm gonna talk more about that later. Next, let's talk about the image quality. I used to think that you need like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera for high quality video. Well, but those days are long gone. Unlike most other webcams that use a much smaller sensor, the OBSBot Tiny 2 uses a 50 megapixel 1/1.5 CMOS sensor. That gives you amazing video quality, but it doesn't stop there. It has super fast autofocusing, making it ideal for close-up shots or highlighting things. It has high quality HDR for those cases when you sit in front of a window, and with most cameras you appear just like this shadow, you know, like the interview guy that doesn't want to be shown, like the anonymous guy. Well, not with this one. On top of all of those, it has dual native ISO. So it uses separate sensor sensitivity for high light and low light, such as for example day and night. All those are terms that I'm used to hearing about high level or high quality DSLRs or mirrorless cameras, not about a tiny little webcam sitting on top of my screen. And if you connect it with a USB 3 cable, it can even transmit 1080p with no compression, so with superb quality. Combine all this with the awesome tracking features and you get a really great camera for those live streams or YouTube video recording. With that said, you cannot control the ISO in the software, which given all the other controls, I've been pretty surprised. It's still interesting to compare it to the Opal C1, this guy, or the Insta360 Link. And speaking of tracking, it's definitely the star of the show. The object tracking is really amazing on the Tiny 2, and it uses advanced AI to keep me in the frame as I move around. It pans, tilts and zooms to follow me smoothly, even when I go behind objects temporarily. And it has by far the most tracking modes I've ever seen on any camera, including pan-tilt zoom cameras. I did notice that it lost me a few times when I left the room or walked behind thin objects, like for example my boom microphone. Even though like that was easy, come on, I'm here. However, I do use a pre-release version of the firmware, so hopefully OBSBot will fix it in a future firmware update. You can even define tracking zones, so when you enter a specific area, it starts tracking and stops when you're outside of it. The OBSBot Tiny 2 has a lot of tracking modes, including face, full body, upper body, hands, and headless or lower body, which would be perfect for, you know, when you don't want to show your face. Close-up tracking. Headless. Lower body. You also have a motion mode for those quick jumps around. Let's say for dancing or DIY videos. And yes, I see you giggling there about the lower body mode. Naughty. And as I already mentioned, it's really good with focusing. Having 10 cm focusing distance, it can focus on you or on an object you're showing very easily, or focus and track your face or hands. As far as presentations go, the camera can also track whiteboards without any stickers. I'm looking at you, Insta360 Link, no stickers are required this time. And you can shoot your desk if you want to show something you're working on. What is extra cool is when the Tiny 2 is not in use, it physically turns down, blocking the camera. So there's no chance here of somebody turning it on and spying on you without you knowing. No more putting stickers on the camera or putting all these weird like sliders or whatever. You don't need that here. If the camera is off, it's down. When it is in use, it has a bunch of beauty features, but those require a special virtual camera and it uses your computer for the effects. It's still nice to have the body slim or skin smoothing and other filters. Let's see if it can actually make me beautiful. First, background blur. Background blur does blur the background, but if I have the microphone here, it for some reason blurs the microphone as well. Let's set the man mode. See a difference? I don't. Yeah, there is a little bit of a difference. My face becomes slimmer. It's kind of like an Instagram for your stream. I do wish it would have been done in the camera and not in software. The OBSBot Tiny 2 is also pretty awesome with audio. And this is how the dual omnidirectional microphone sounds like, with weak noise cancellation. And this is with strong noise cancellation. How does it sound? I actually didn't hear it myself yet, so I'm curious to hear how it sounds as well. Not only it has great dual omnidirectional noise cancelling microphone, it also uses this microphone for voice commands, and you can basically use any feature of the camera by giving it voice commands. Almost anything the camera can do can be done with voice commands. And the OBSBot Tiny 2 is very good at capturing those commands. Zoom in closer. Zoom out farther. Hi Tiny. Sleep Tiny. I do love the colorful bar on the bottom of the camera, showing what mode it's in and showing if it heard you when you talk to it. And of course, you can do gestures similar to the Insta360 Link and the previous OBSBot Tiny 4K. I think that I personally like the voice commands better, because on a Zoom call, it's kind of really weird to start doing gestures to the camera, but you can always mute the call and fire up some voice commands. Though, if you're already muting, you can use the OBSBot app as well, since you're probably close to the computer. The remote control is a cool addition, and so far it's unique to the Tiny 2. It can fully control multiple Tiny 2s, it's very versatile, even with a laser pointer if you need it, and a clicker for presentations. It's really perfect for those who do a lot of presentations, but do keep in mind the remote is sold separately. Or you can buy it in a bundle, but batteries are still not included. However, I found it really annoying that the way the remote is implemented, it actually sends keyboard commands to the computer through a separate dongle, which means that if those keyboard commands are already defined on your operating system, it calls those instead of sending them to the camera. On my computer, maybe in a power user, a lot of those commands or keyboard shortcuts have been already mapped. So when I press the buttons, I end up moving around windows or screens or passing text into random text fields. At the end of the day, the remote might not be necessary if you're not doing presentations, since there are so many other ways to control the camera, including like voice, Stream Deck and gestures. But the laser pointer is a really nice touch. I really like that. And the clicker is very, very comfortable for presentations. And I really wish that they would connect it to the camera and I could control it directly without the dongle and without overriding keyboard shortcuts on my computer. By the way, if you're a streamer, there's a very high chance you have a Stream Deck, and the OBSBot Tiny 2 has amazing support for the Stream Deck, including changing the direction of the camera, focusing, positioning, and all of that. So definitely connect it to the camera as well. Alright, let's move on to the comparison. Comparing the OBSBot Tiny 2 to its previous generation, the Tiny 4K, the Insta360 Link, and the Opal C1. One thing that stands out is that the Tiny 2 is the only one with the remote, and it has an amazing app with a lot of controls. Not to mention, it has the biggest sensor of all of them except for the Opal C1. You can see here that the Opal C1 still has the biggest sensor, but it doesn't have pen tilting or zoom, so it's not really a fair comparison. As far as pricing goes, the OBSBot Tiny 2 costs $329 at the OBSBot website, or through the link below. With the remote in a bundle, it's $368. That's $20 more expensive than the Insta360 Link and $70 more than the Opal C1, which makes the OBSBot Tiny 2 the most expensive webcam I ever tried. Let's go on to the features. The OBSBot Tiny 2 has great video quality, great low light performance, HDR, and an ultra large 50 megapixel sensor. It has the privacy mode, basically like going down, but so are other tracking cameras as well. However, it has amazing tracking modes. It can track me, track my hands, track my body, like the desk, whiteboard, anything you could need in your streaming career or video recording, it can track it. It can, trust me. The gesture controls are very sensitive and responsive, and I did not have issues with the tracking of the gestures. And of course the remote control is a nice touch. Pros and cons. Pros: it has awesome video quality with dual ISO and HDR. It has great tracking in all scenarios. A lot of tracking modes, including hand, desk, lower body, close-ups. It has a beauty mode, which can smooth your skin, make you slimmer, the remote control, the voice commands, and the noise-cancelling dual microphone. Cons, or what's wrong with it? It loses tracking when tracking behind objects, but hopefully it's an early bug and will be fixed in a future firmware update. The remote sends keyboard shortcuts to the computer, not actually communicating with the camera. There's no horizontal leveling like in the Insta360 Link. So if your screen or surface is not level, so is your camera. All the beauty features are using a virtual camera that weighs CPU and depends on your computer, which is a shame. And at the end of the day, it's pretty expensive. But for somebody who needs a camera that tracks them as well as that one, that's the only choice. So there you have it. You don't have to be tied to your desk anymore. With the OBSBot Tiny 2, the world, or at least your office or studio, can be your stage. The OBSBot Tiny 2, a game changer in the world of webcams. Whether you are a professional streamer or fitness enthusiast, or you just move around a lot while you're working, this camera is the perfect tool for you. And remember, it's not just about the quality. It's also the quality, but it's also about practicality. So if you want a camera that is smart, intuitive, and caters to your needs, look no further. I do however wish that the OBSBot would add vertical leveling or the horizontal leveling like the Insta360 Link and improve the remote for the next round. And as always, I'm David, and I'll see you soon with a fresh new digital life hack or a cool new algorithm. And speaking of the algorithms, don't forget to like this video to tell the YouTube algorithm that more people should see it. And subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any of the future digital life hacks. Until next time, see ya!